Detectives call it one of the worst crimes they've ever worked. A 14-year-old girl tortured, then shot in front of her father.
That father then burned alive with his daughter in the car. Tonight, investigators say this is the face of one of the men responsible right there. And now the search is on for the 23-year-old man. 5 on your side investigator Scott Knoll live outside the East Cleveland Police Department with the latest.
Murder charges were filed here this morning. The suspect, a guy with a violent past. Last January, police officers saved Ronald Newberry's life, rushing him to the hospital after he was shot 16 times pulling out of a driveway. Now detectives believe Newberry was on the other side of last month's deadly attack that killed 39-year-old Paul Bradley and his 14-year-old daughter, Paris.
I mean, the fact that you would torture a 14-year-old girl, shoot her 3 times in the head, by all evidence indication, Paris was shot while Paul was still alive, and Paul was burnt alive. That takes a peculiar personality to do that.
Investigators say surveillance video showed Newberry's Ford Edge driving to the abandoned lot and speeding away from the spot where Bradley's rental car was found burning with the bodies inside. The deadly end, what police believe started as a plan to rob Bradley.
You know, the victim was pretty well off financially, and Mr. Newberry and his associates were aware of his financial status.
Police say Bradley's Bedford home was ransacked and items missing. They say it was also doused in gasoline. So much so, detectives hope it could help them ID others involved.
Somebody had to have seen it. I mean, there was an extraordinary amount of gasoline that was used on this crime. They had to have stopped somewhere and filled up multiple gas cans.
Court records show Newberry was charged in a 2014 robbery and murder. That case was dismissed. Today, East Cleveland police said other departments have come forward with information connecting the 23-year-old to at least one other robbery and killing.
There's some pretty direct evidence that indicates that Mr. Newberry has done this before, and that this is sort of his operation.
Police here believe they have that getaway car caught on video. They say Newberry actually took it back to the dealership where he bought it a couple of weeks ago, complaining the radio didn't work. Live in East Cleveland, I'm 5 on your side investigator Scott Knoll.
We're also indicating that this may be a specification where they would be seeking the death penalty and or life in prison. The maximum fine for these types of offenses would be $25,000, could be as low as $15,000. If it's an aggravated murder that ends up being the way the case is resolved, that could be a $100,000 fine. The complaint states specifically that on or about the 10th day of October 2018 in the city of East Cleveland, Cody Gibson did knowingly, purposefully, and with prior calculation and design, caused the death of Paul Bradley while committing or attempting to commit aggravated robbery and aggravated burglary. There's a second count with the same possible penalties, stating that on or about October 10th, 2018 in the city of East Cleveland, you did, Mr. Gibson, knowingly, purposefully, and with prior calculation and design, caused the death of Paris Bradley while committing or attempting to commit aggravated robbery and aggravated burglary. Counsel now. Sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I did have the opportunity to talk with Cody about his right to a preliminary hearing, as well as the evidence that was presented to me in a conversation with the assigned detective on the case. Based off of that conversation with Cody, at this time he's going to waive his right to a preliminary hearing, maintains his absolute innocence in this, and we would defer to the court regarding bond, Your Honor.
So with the waiver of the preliminary hearing being accepted, I'm going to set an initial appearance for Mr. Gibson. It'll be November 19th, which is Monday, 9:45 on the 12th floor of the Justice Center. I'll give you that reminder, sir. Detective, can you issue a bond?
Judge, for the record, Detective Ken Lundy, with respect to Mr. Cody Gibson, 21-year-old black male with a 7-cycle arrest history with 1 conviction. We're going to respectfully request a bond of $5,321,770 assistant to his co-defendant.
Not at all.
That will keep the bond consistent to the bond that we set for the co-defendant. And let me see. The detective, that number again is $5,321,770.
$5 million.
So again, the bond will be set in that amount. The court date is for Monday. And as far as it looks like we have those other cases that'll be set out. Counselor, are any of the traffic cases? No, they're not at all on the same date, so that's fine. Mr. Gibson, good luck. You can have a seat.
Okay, let's move on along.
All right, gentlemen, a few important things. I'm Judge Dawson. Before we begin, I want to make sure you understand what some of your primary rights are. First of all, you have a right to an attorney. And I believe you've had a chance to speak with the defense attorney here, or you may have your own attorney. If you have not had that opportunity, we will make sure you get that opportunity. You also have a right to remain silent, which would be expressed through your attorney, which means you do not have to say anything when I call your name. You may be asked to come to the microphone with your hands visible, if that's able, or if you're capable of having your hands visible, then that's what we would ask you to do. Otherwise, you do have that right to remain silent. And then you have a right to what's called a probable cause or a preliminary hearing. That's a hearing for the purpose of the city to give evidence to the court that a felony was committed in this city and that you are connected to it to the point where I have to send it to the felony court to be resolved, meaning the felony cannot be handled in a misdemeanor court such as this one. When you speak with your attorney, the attorney will let you know that you can either have that hearing, you can request that hearing formally, or you can waive that hearing. If you waive the hearing, you're not admitting any guilt. Basically, you're allowing the case to be sent to the county for further proceeding. If that takes place, I will also set a court date for you so that you know when to appear at the county for your further proceedings. Also, I will set a bond for you here. We will hear from your attorney as well as the city's representatives in regard to the bond. And if you are electing to have a preliminary hearing, it has to take place within 10 days if you are still in the jail. But if you are able to make your bond that is going to be recommended and set, we have 15 days to have that particular hearing. But we'll let you know all that when we call the cases based on what the request is from your attorneys.
No, sir.
First case is 18 CRA 01163, the City of East Cleveland versus Ronald Newberry. Good morning, counsel.
Morning, Your Honor. For the record, K. Ranky, 216-374-7660.
Thank you very much. I have here two counts. The first one is a violation of 2903.01, a charge of aggravated murder. And then there's a second 2903.01, charge of aggravated murder. Those are felonies of the first degree, where you're looking at least 3 to 11 years in prison, up to a $15,000 fine, depending upon the specifications added to the charge. It could be life in prison or death. And it looks like in this particular situation, they have indicated that life is a possibility as well as death. The complaint states specifically that on or about the 10th day of October 2018 in the City of East Cleveland, Ronald Newberry did knowingly, purposely, and with prior calculation and design cause the death of Paris Bradley while committing or attempting to commit aggravated robbery and aggravated burglary. The second charge states that on or about the 10th day of October 2018 in the City of East Cleveland, Ronald Newberry did knowingly, purposely, and with prior calculation and design cause the death of Paul Bradley while committing or attempting to commit aggravated robbery, and aggravated burglary. Counsel, in regard to the probable cause hearing.
Judge, I have gone over with my client. We would demand a preliminary examination.
Okay.
He has indicated so on the form, and an advisement of rights form, which I can provide to the court. Judge, we voluntarily surrendered upon being notified that there was an active warrant. I did call the detectives, made arrangements, and turned them in voluntarily to the East Cleveland Police Department last Thursday. We were informed originally that the court date was going to be on Tuesday. It was subsequently pushed back until today. I have accompanied Mr. Newberry to the detectives to speak to them on 2 occasions, as well as provided additional information in an effort to cooperate. It is my understanding that on at least 3 occasions, while he's been in the city jail outside of my presence, the detectives have brought him up, spoke to him in his jail, attempted to speak with him, which is certainly a violation of his attorney-client privileges. In addition, Judge, we made arrangements for his mother, who is not a suspect in this case, as well as his girlfriend to speak to the detectives. His mother was arrested. Mr. Newberry was told by the detectives that his mother was going to remain in jail until such time that he confessed. His mother has been subsequently released. We are demanding a preliminary hearing, but I would ask for the record that there be no contact with my client outside of my presence by any law enforcement. We've also spoken to the prosecutors who were present last Friday. They are also aware of my representation.
All right. Thank you, counsel. So first of all, what we're going to do is set the preliminary hearing for Monday, November 19th, and I believe we set that time for 12.
Noon.
Yes.
Thank you,
So
Judge.
let's do that. And Counselor, appreciate your cooperation and the involvement that you've been, the steps you've taken to make sure that your client has been presented to the East Cleveland Police Department. So I appreciate that. And I don't think it's unreasonable to make that request on the record and even in the presence of the court, that there be no contact with your client. So I do understand that. I'm sure the city understands that at this point. So we should not have any more problems in that regard. Detective or Madam Prosecutor, to the issue of bond.
Hi, Your Honor.
Sorry.
Good afternoon. For the record, Detective Joseph Marche, City of East Cleveland, assigned to major crimes in the Detective Bureau. Before you, Ronald Newberry, black male, 23 years of age. We're not going to put his address out today. We're also not going to put any evidence out there today due to the fact that there is media here. Detective's bond recommendation is $5,321,770 cash surety, and that number is significant to the victim, Paul Bradley.
Counsel.
Judge, for the record, based upon the charges, I would leave the issue of bond to the discretion of the court.
Okay. All right. And I think what's important here is a couple of things. One is that obviously there's no more contact. We want to make sure that's done correctly and properly. We're going to set the prelim for Monday. And because of that, I think the bond recommendation, I don't see an adjustment that I would make that would make a big difference as far as Mr. Newberry being released today. So I will keep the bond set at the $5,321,770 and set the preliminary hearing for Monday at 12 noon.
Thank you, Judge. I just will ask to raise the issue of bond again after the preliminary hearing on Monday.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron.
And so the other
Damn shame. This is, excuse me, so sad. I mean, really, this is so sad. So after a man that has worked hard, he's a good father, you watching him, you decide to rob him. Oh no, robbing this motherfucker wasn't enough. You gotta shoot his child in front of him. He died then and there. He was gone at that point. And as if that was not enough. First, hold on, let me back up. You torture her first. Then you shoot her in front of her dad. Then you turn around and you set this man on fire. Alive? All because you wanted what he worked hard for? And then you wonder. Then these kids wonder why America looks at us like we're animals. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. This is word sad is not even a word. First of all, my heart goes out to the family. My prayers are with the family. And this dude, sometimes some crimes should just be so evident that what you need a motherfucking trial for? Oh, he may get life or he may get the death penalty. What the fuck? Once you see, you prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was this dude, just take him out. What? Man, oh man. This is Tanya, and this is my 2 cents. We gotta do better as a people. And it's not gonna take reaching the kids. No. You gotta reach those parents. These 1990 and afterwards, y'all some retarded motherfuckers. And actually, that's wrong. I think you might have to go a generation before when that crack hit. That's what. That was like the nail in the coffin for us. Everything that came after that is fucked up. And there needs to be some wraparound services for these families, you know? I think some of these kids are playing too many video games. I mean, what the fuck? That was absolutely ridiculous. Take care. Leave your comment below. Please give this video a like. I am new to YouTube. Make sure you like us on Facebook. And make sure you subscribe to our channel and share this story so everybody can pray for the family. Much love.
Treat him as an equal. They call us animal. I don't agree with them. I'll prove it wrong. But right is what you're proving them. Take heed before I leave to what I'm saying.